Well, at the moment, the three members of the jury are struggling through 440 music works of young composers in different categories. So the scores are for orchestra or very strange combinations with electronics or video, which can be very interesting for the jury to look through all these new ways of expressions.
I think every contemporary composer, or at least most of them, are trying to develop a language which they feel is their own, and a musical language also needs very specific colors that you like very much. And of course, experimenting is something that belongs especially to the work of a young composer.
I'm interested in the kind of individual voice, or what strikes you as fresh. So it's amazing that some of the scores are incredibly complex, that they've probably taken a year to do, you know, so it's very impressive on that level. But also sometimes you can have a piece that's very sort of clearly conceived, really quite clear and simple, which is also just as effective, in fact. So it sort of matters what's being said with the piece, really.
Yeah, something that is kind of catching or talking directly. I think this is a kind of sincerity and honesty in a voice. And of course, there are always scores that look like this or that big composer. You see the influences, but sometimes, even though there are influences, that is normal. Some manage to express something very personal, and that's I think very important.
Well, I can see that a lot of composers studied quite hard to master all what is called the extended techniques, so all the special things you can do with instruments, and sometimes I think it gets the better of them. There are scores which are very refined in the use of all kinds of extended techniques, and sometimes I have the impression some composers forget about the music.
And how do you pick the jury members each year? Is there some criteria for? Or?
Well, they have to be a bit older than the composers we select, and they have to be from different styles. So we don't only pick the ones who are very good in very complex music, but there's always somebody who is a bit older, very experienced in different kinds of music. And for instance, this year we enlarged the festival to other areas in the city. For instance, we cooperate with the Gamelan festival. And so we have to have somebody who is experienced in this typical kind of instrumentation. And there's also a cooperation with the organ park, so there has to be somebody who knows how to write for organ. Well, this year we have the 65th time we organize this festival, and it's still young because it's aiming at what young composers are doing. And it's unique, so for a young composer to be selected and performed in this festival is really very important for the career and a stepping stone, so they can be seen and be heard.
I mean, one exciting thing about a prize like this is that you may have a composer that comes from maybe a fairly isolated region, and they come here and they hear music from all over the world, and that's quite exciting. You know, from your bedroom where you wrote your piece, then you're catapulted into this environment where there are composers from all over the world, and that's invigorating. And of course, if you win the prize, it's always a useful boost. Yeah.